autumn winds of New York always carried a kind of poetic chill, but today, Junha didn't feel it. Not even as he walked out of the music hall, the same one where he had performed in front of hundreds just the night before. His mind was elsewhere. The echoes of applause still danced around in the corners of his memory, but his heart was with someone oceans away. It had been 5 years. 5 whole years since he left Korea. 5 years since he rolled out of that classroom with Yeonwoo pushing his wheelchair, humming off-key and laughing so hard they almost fell into the flower beds outside the cafeteria. 5 years since she dared him to eat 3 pork belly skewers at once and nearly choked herself laughing when he actually did. Now, he walked. Thanks to the surgery Yeonwoo had once pleaded with him to get, he walked with strength in his legs again. It hadn't been easy. Not the physical pain, not the emotional guilt. For the longest time, he refused it. He felt it would be a betrayal to his twin brother, the brother who never made it out of that car crash. But in the long nights filled with music and memories, her voice echoed louder than guilt ever could. Your brother would want you to walk again. Not just for yourself, but for him. And for me, too. So, he did. And he became something more. Junha, now known as J. Famous, stood as a symbol of resilience, pain, and passion. He had studied at Berklee College of Music in Boston, the very best. Mastered composition, vocals, even production. His music was a blend of smooth Korean verses and gentle English refrains, layered with meaning. And every now and then, he dropped a line, a verse with a whisper of a girl with a dimpled smile and a love for street music bands. But he never called her. He watched her journey from afar. Yeonwoo had become a rising music producer, studying at a university in Seoul. Her beats were raw, emotional, and deeply human. She hadn't lost her tomboy charm, nor the habit of wearing basketball pants under her skirts. He smiled whenever he saw a photo. He wanted to return. In a grand surprise. One day. One perfect day. Until he got the call. She's in the hospital, Junha. It's serious. The words clanged against his chest like a gong. In less than 24 hours, he was back in Korea. Disguised in a black hoodie, mask, and cap, Junha made his way into the quiet hospital room. There she was. Yeonwoo. She lay still. Bruised. Pale. Fragile. Coma. His hands trembled as he pulled up the chair beside her. He reached for her hand. It was cold, yet still hers. Still his Yeonwoo. The girl who danced in drumbeats, who showed him videos of her brother before he joined the US Marine, who made fun of his serious face until he snorted with laughter. Now, she said nothing. I waited 5 years to surprise you, he whispered, voice cracking. But this wasn't the surprise I planned. For 1 month and 2 weeks, he came daily. At odd hours. Always hidden. No fans. No limelight. Just Junha, the boy she once strolled across school with. He read to her. Played soft music in her room. Sometimes, he held her hand and just sat in silence. And then, she woke. But the real heartbreak wasn't over. She didn't remember him. She had lost her memory. Junha, she asked one morning. Are you my doctor? He couldn't answer. Her family, warm and hopeful, supported her with everything. And so did he. They never told her who he truly was. Not yet. The doctor said the amnesia might be temporary. So, he tried. They revisited all their old haunts. The secret rooftop she once showed him? He took her there. The hot pot restaurant where they fought over the last pork belly slice? They went. He even wheeled himself once again, just so she could laugh at him pretending he couldn't walk. But she never laughed the same. Each time they visited those places, she smiled, politely. But never like her. But he never stopped showing up. Junha's footsteps slowed as he approached the modest stone gate leading to Yeonwoo's home. The early spring air was cool, wrapped in the scent of blooming plum blossoms that lined the nearby fence. He had come again, just as he had yesterday, and the day before that, to sit with her, to share a few moments, to hold on to any sliver of what they used to be. Yeonwoo opened the door even before he could ring the bell. She wore a cozy hoodie, her hair loosely tied up. Her smile was small, almost shy, but it was enough to warm Junha's heart. "Hi," she said. "Hey," he replied, lips curling in that soft, fond way that only belonged to her. They sat at the low table by the window in her living room, the pale gold sunlight spilling in. Junha brought spicy pork belly from their favorite hot pot spot. He had gone out of his way to get it fresh. "I swear they made it extra spicy because they saw your name on the order," he teased, lifting the lid. Yeonwoo giggled. "I'll take that as a challenge." They ate and laughed, Yeonwoo cracking jokes in that sarcastic, playful tone that always made him laugh until his stomach hurt. Sometimes she'd wave her chopsticks dramatically and reenact embarrassing moments from their high school days she had learned from her family, not knowing he had been there for all of them. He would laugh, but inside he ached, longing for her to remember him as her Junha. After dinner, they sat on the balcony. The sunset painted everything with apricot light. Yeonwoo leaned back on her hands, her gaze on the dusky sky. "You keep staring at me," she said, turning to him with a raised brow. Junha blinked, caught. "Do I?" "Yep." He looked away, pretending to be embarrassed, but Yeonwoo just smiled. That same, bright, lopsided grin. Late that evening, she sat in her room alone. The laughter faded into silence. Yeonwoo pulled out a small wooden box she kept in her drawer. Inside were photographs, old, folded, and familiar. One in particular caught her eye, a selfie with Junha in their school uniforms, her fingers making peace signs over his head while he gave a rare, beautiful smile. She stared at it long. "Who are you to me?" she whispered. In the mirror, she touched her own cheek. "Why do I feel like I'm missing a whole other life?" Evening walks had become their ritual. The streets near her neighborhood were quiet, lit with lantern-style street lamps, and washed with the soft sounds of cicadas. Junha walked beside Yeonwoo, his hands occasionally brushing hers. This time, he gently reached out and held her hand. Yeonwoo flinched slightly, not harshly, but gently, withdrawing with a small, apologetic smile. I'm sorry," she said. "I don't know why. It just feels like too much." He smiled sadly, nodding. "It's okay. I get it." She glanced up at him. "You always say that. But I wish I could remember why it hurts when I don't." Every night he left her house, his heart was heavier. Every joke they shared, every look, every subtle motion between them, he cherished it, even if it was just him remembering for the both of them. Some nights, he'd sit by her gate after walking her home, just staring at the stars. Sometimes he'd whisper a breath prayer under his breath. "God, if you're listening, please give her back what we had." When Famous announced a surprise concert in Seoul, the city trembled with excitement. The venue was packed. People waved banners. Cameras flashed. But the spotlight was gentle tonight. Halfway into the concert, he paused. A piano intro began playing. He stepped to the center. "This song is for someone who changed my life. She may not remember me, but I remember every little thing." He sang. The room fell silent. His voice cracked. Tears fell. The crowd joined him, singing the chorus that now felt like a prayer. The screens behind him lit up with soft images. Not of her, but of places. Hot pot tables. Basketball courts. Rooftops. Music notes. "Please," he said after the final chord, breathless. "Pray for my best friend tonight." Back home, Yeonwoo watched. She had always loved Famous music. But tonight, something stirred. The lyrics, they felt familiar. Her hand trembled on the remote. Her chest tightened. She didn't understand why, but her eyes filled with tears. A few days later, under the soft orange glow of garden lights, he sat across from her. He had arranged it beautifully. Flowers. Quiet music. "I'm not your doctor," he said, softly. "I'm your Junha. We used to be vest buddies back in our senior year." He told her everything. "And I waited, because I wanted you to see the me you believed in. The me you told to rise. But I never stopped missing you. Not once, young Woo, not even a single day." He cried. She didn't say anything. But she opened her arms. He rushed in. And in that embrace, it happened. Flashes. Skirts over trousers. Basketballs. Drum beats. Spicy kebabs. A garden kiss on the cheek. Laughter. Sobs. Jokes. And a boy who once told her he wanted to walk again, just to stand beside her. She remembered. Not everything. Not at once. But enough. Enough to begin again. Those regained memories, they jolted goosebumps on her skin. They were definitely her memories. She didn't tell him that night. Just held him there, with a soft pat on his back. 2 days later. A call came in at 10:43 p.m. Junha was still in his studio, practicing the chords for a new piece. "Yeongwoo," he said, surprised. Her voice was trembling, but clear. "Junha. I remember." He stood frozen. "You, what?" "I remember everything." He could hear her soft snickering over the phone. He didn't even grab a coat. He just drove. The city lights blurred past as his car rushed toward her home. When he arrived, she was already standing at the gate, barefoot, hair wild in the night breeze. As soon as he stepped out of the car, she ran into his arms. He caught her, lifting her slightly, holding her like he was holding everything he had been waiting for. "I remember you," she whispered. "Everything. Us. Your brother. The music nights, the hot pots. Even that dumb hoodie you always wore in winter." He laughed, crying as he held her. "I've missed you so much. One moment I feared I'd lost you forever." She pulled back, placing a hand on his cheek. "You didn't go anywhere. You were always here. I just couldn't see you." They stood under the stars, surrounded by the scent of home and old cherry blossoms, wrapped in each other's presence. About a month later, the world heard his new song, You, named Forever. It was raw, passionate, a mix of Korean and English, flowing like a love letter wrapped in melody. The chorus echoed, "You, named forever, in every heartbeat I breathe. You're closest just when I fear you've gone far from me." It was a beautiful night, with genuine smile stealing across Yeongwoo's face. Together, side by side, on the same hilltop with beautiful hues of pink slashing across orange skies, where their friendship first bloomed, now older, stronger, more real. "Do you still like hot pot?" she asked. "Only if it's with you," he answered. And this time, she didn't flinch when he reached for her hand. Their fingers laced together as if they had never been apart. They weren't courting yet. Just still best of friends, and it felt like the very best life could afford them.